Okay, trying that again. How's everyone doing today? Hello. Okay,
Fine, thank you.
cool. Thanks everyone for making time out in your day to be here. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Um, well, for those who may not know me, my name is Andy Obwofrebo. I am the head of product up until our last meeting 2 weeks ago. I would have been introduced as the head of product at Founders Factory Africa. But somewhere between our last meeting and today, Founders Factory Africa ceased to exist. We have undergone a rebrand and a brand launch and a new name. And so we are now 54 Collective. So I am now the head of products at 54 Collective. Still the same company, same people, same mission, but we have rebranded to reflect an evolution in our model and basically we at the next stage in our presence in Africa. In a lot of ways we've undergone a metamorphosis. We've launched our second fund. Our In our first fund, we were doing a lot of learning. In our second fund, we are actively applying those learnings to our new portfolio. So excited to be on this journey and excited to continue to partner with people in product even under our new name. So yes, so I am the head of product at Founders Factory Africa, now 54 Collective. I've been here for quite a while. Before that, I was the head of product at Babangona, a Nigerian ag tech firm. At 54 Collective, what we do, for those who don't know, is we invest in early stage startups, and then after investing in them as a VC, we also provide direct hands-on support to them in, conquering their market. Everything from product, which is why I exist as a head of product, to growth, partnerships, talent acquisition, uh, business strategy, the works we provide. Yeah, so I think that's enough about me. Now happy to get into today's session. Today may probably be the last day we review your CVs. In 2 weeks time, I want to do an exercise with you on my CV. But today, and we talked about that 2 weeks ago, that would really be just basically me showing you how to take your template CV, your stock CV, as I call it, and making that applicable to multiple um, sectors. So I turn my CV into a fintech CV, turn my CV into an agri-tech CV, turn my CV into an early stage or a late stage CV. Just how you tweak the CV with the content that is there to emphasize some things and de-emphasize others in order to fit, to show how your existing experience best fits the role that you're going for. So that will be what we talk about in 2 weeks' time. But today, our last review of your CVs in this series or at this time. We may come back to that at some later date. So I will use the next one that was given to me, which was the CV of Aduragbemi Gaga. Is Aduragbemi on the call? I'm not sure. I can't see.
Yes, Andy. Good evening.
Oh, good evening. Awesome. Oh, I'm seeing Doc RX because, yes, that was, I remember that from the CV. Okay, great. Awesome. Happy to have you here. Once again, thank you for submitting your CV. But before we proceed, for the sake of formality and clarity, please do I have your consent to share your CV on my screen to the rest of the people on the call? It will just be basically sharing what you shared with me, but also showing my tweaks and my changes to that.
Yes, Andy.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Um, okay, 1 second. Let me tee that up. Okay. Just a thumbs up if y'all can see the screen. Awesome. Okay. So let's go straight into it. We're just going to the line items. The first line item in the experience is the current job, as you can see from the Google from your account. There is DocRX, where you are a product manager. You've explained to us an early stage fintech health tech rather. Yeah, I've been doing fintech all day. Sorry. So yeah, okay. So there are 4 bullet items in this first one. First one is for this first job. First one is built and led a team of 7 product and R&D, including UX UI designers, engineers, to develop MVP within a 5-month time frame, resulting in over 50 signups in the inaugural month. Great. I didn't tweak this much. There could have been some more tweaks I could have done, but it works generally. You've shipped the MVP. You got 50 signups. That is the achievement. Like I always say on in these our sessions, try and have a clear accomplishment there. In each line item. Like what you want is a hiring officer to read the line item, and you don't want them going away and saying, well, so what? Right. And the best way to avoid that so what is to have in the line item something specific that you achieved. And when I say something specific achieved, I mean something that the business would consider as an achievement. So not an output, but an outcome. In this case, 50 signups is an outcome. Now, you could tweak the language around and say something like, got 50 signups in the first month by launching this the MVP, etc., etc. But sometimes you can over tweak the language and it defeats the purpose. So I decided to leave that first one as is. Now, the second one, devise product strategy, roadmap, and PRD by incorporating feedback, so from stakeholders, I guess, and users, and implementing insights into the project framework, reducing time to market by 14%. Now, my feedback there is, yeah, oh, I'm sorry, for those trying to follow along, what was on the original CV is in black. My note about the line item is in red, and then underneath in blue you have my revised version. So for this second bullet point, this is what I just read out. And my feedback, my note there was, this is great, but use more active language. And that's why I changed it here to reduce time to market by 14% while driving product strategy and roadmap. And it's the same information in a much shorter, tighter sentence, and leading with the achievement, with the outcome. Reduced time to market by 14%. The next one is conducted customer discovery by interviewing 20 doctors and patients to translate evolving product specifications and drive consensus with stakeholders on roadmap changes. My note there is, what did this yield? Because here we have clearly explained and described and defined activity, which is customer discovery. So what that tells me is, you know that you're supposed to do customer discovery. What I would want to know is the outcome of that customer discovery. Yes, you have been able to get to evolve the product specs, get consensus around those new product specs, and change the roadmap. But what did this lead to in terms of results on the product? So I don't know if I would have liked us to just, I didn't want to add something that wasn't true. So I wanted to wait and workshop it with you on the call, if you didn't mind, to just basically say, after you did this, after you changed the roadmap, evolve the product specs, and you got that buy-in to go ahead and do that and change the roadmap. Um, what was there any successful outcome of this in terms of impact of the product, adoption of the product, business outcomes? What would you add as this is what I achieved by doing this?
Okay, thank you, Andy. So basically, what I was able to achieve was like I get their pain points
Mm-hmm.
and be able to channel the product towards the pain points that was highlighted after speaking to more than 20 doctors as well as various patients. So it was able to like channel the business to where the users needs were, as well as be able to like run a roadmap towards that within this short time period we have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I hear that. So my next question would be, and then what happened with the users when you now give them features based on this new rational roadmap? What was the reception?
So we were able to get like I said for the first one, the number of signups, as well as we had an increase in our retention for the first few months up to 40%. So we're able to have more doctors come back to the platform to consult with patients because they were satisfied with the product.
Okay, thank you. I love that. So I'm putting here achieve 40% retention in first. You said few months. I'll just put X months. I know if you were the one writing it, you would now put in the right number there. By refining, for example, the roadmap, or you could say by switching to, for example, to a revamped roadmap and product roadmap. Or no, I think I prefer to use the language you already have here. So you could say by evolving the roadmap and product roadmap and specifications, roadmap and specifications based on results of customer discovery. And you don't need to go into the detail of interviewing 20 doctors, customer discovery with doctors and patients. And then you could add as an addendum, successfully engaged with internal stakeholders to get buy-in. For example, one of many ways to say it. Then the last one is collaborated with marketing manager to plan the go-to-market strategy, launch a product, and develop brand awareness across multiple channels, increasing the company's digital presence by 50%. This is an amazing thing to have achieved. All I did here was reword it to put more active language, like I keep saying. And for those who missed the last session, when I say active language, when I say more active language, I'm not saying that the language that Adrogbemi was using is passive. She's not using passive language here, but the active language she was using can still be made even more active. And the best way to do that is to say that directly say at the top, but directly put the end result, the outcome, the big outcome, directly put that at the, instead of putting it at the end, put it at the beginning and attribute it to yourself because you are part of those who achieve that, and then say how. So what we've done here is increase company's digital presence by 50%. How? By collaborating with marketing manager on go-to-market strategy, successfully launching the product, and developing brand awareness across multiple channels. And the same thing you set up here, but said with more of a punch, with more active language, telling me, the reader, the hiring manager, at the very start of the line item, what you achieved, and then telling me how you achieved it. So that's the first job. Before we go on to the next job, do we have any questions or comments or feedback, or I would have done this differently, or I would not hire you if you wrote this the way Andy wrote it? Well, any questions or feedback at all? Okay, moving on to the next one then. The next one, product manager intern at Swipe. So the first line item there, led the team to build an expense report feature by applying user-centric design strategies, resulting in a 20% increase in user satisfaction and a more efficient reporting process. And my feedback is, the most recurring feedback I have on this resume is, great, use more active language. And specifically, here's how we've done it here. We've said, oopsie daisy, yep. Raised user satisfaction by 20%. So we start with the achievement. What did she do? She raised user satisfaction by 20%. How? By sorry. Okay, sorry. I'm an error here. This is say by shipping. So raised it by shipping an expense reporting feature as the outcome of a user-centric design process. So it's still, again, all the same information in the previous one, but condensed and flipped around so that the outcome is first and the how is second. Are any of you aware of the concept of the information pyramid? It's a concept in journalism. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. No, it's not the. Well, anyway, I'll find it later and I'll share it with you guys. But the whole point is, when you're sharing information, the most important thing to the user should be to the reader should be first and should be dominant. Then the next important thing should be second and a little less a little shorter. And then the third most important thing, third and a little shorter, on and on and on. So and for a hiring manager who is trying to make a decision about you, it's important for them to know that the how of how you get things done, and I write user stories and I create PRDs and I draw a roadmap. That's important, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is, do you get results? So put the results first, top of your pyramid, if you're inverted pyramid, then put the how of how you get it done. Then the second one here was enhance the business dashboard through user interviews and feedback, resulting in a 20% reduction in the churn rate. And by now you can guess my feedback. Great. Use more active language. And that's what we've done here. Reduce churn by 20% by leading my team to enhance the business dashboard led by user feedback. So you've given me a lot of great stuff to work with here. On almost every line item you've written, you already give me a good outcome that came out of your work. A lot of CVs I see, they don't have an outcome. They just tell me, oh, this is the thing that I was doing. That's not enough for me. But this CV is better than most because it already contains the outcomes. And so all I needed to do was just flip it around and put the outcome first. The next one is created roadmaps and product vision. No, sorry, mistake. Okay. Transform the product strategy into PRDs, user stories, and user persona that address the potential users' needs, pain points, and align with business objectives. Now, what I said here was these details may be too level. I understand that these were the details that were relevant at the time you were doing that job. It's an intern job. Yes, but now you're no longer going for an intern job. Most of the jobs you're looking for, we expect that you can write a PRD, you can transform the strategy into PRDs, you can do user stories, you can create personas. These don't impress your hiring manager. And sometimes putting them there may even do the opposite of impressing your hiring manager and make your hiring manager say, well, if this person is putting this in the CV, it means they see it as a big deal. And if they see it as a big deal, then that means maybe they're not senior enough to see it as just, well, bah, that's table stakes. That's what we all do. You know what? There's no need. So it's very good. Even when you're talking about past jobs where you were very junior, it is very important to sort of scrub out things that are too detailed, too much of a minutiae. Now, there's a reason why I will go, instead of showing you the corrected version next, which some of you are already reading, I'm sure. I'll show you the next thing because I ended up merging them. The next one says, created roadmaps and product vision for both internal and external stakeholders based on business and customer needs. Now, I prefer this because this is more high level, right? It's showing what you did. But at the same time, if you think about it, it belongs with the other one. It's part of the same job or the same task. This last point of creating a roadmap and a product vision and selling it to internal stakeholders, that's the high level strategic view of the task. Then the transforming that strategy and vision, or in this case, transforming the product strategy into PRDs and user stories and personas, that's the more operational, low-level side of that same task. And so when you put them together, you now describe a complete senior product manager or a complete product manager who can see a product vision, set the product vision, set a product strategy based on that vision, create a product roadmap based on that strategy, convert that roadmap into PRDs and user stories, and create a or set of user personas that correspond to the customer for whom this product strategy is being designed. That is a senior product manager or a mid-level product manager in a smaller firm. And so what I decided to do was it would be smart to combine these two line items into a single line item that describes that. And that's what we have here, where it says, transformed the product development process. So see, what I did there was I added an outcome. The outcome now is you've left that company, that team, with a better product development process. And you did that by creating a unified product strategy and then I put in parentheses that it encompasses a vision, strategic goals, and an actionable roadmap. By the way, at some point, we will discuss the product strategy stack at some point in one of these sessions. And successfully getting buy-in of both internal and external stakeholders. So what have we done there? We've shown that you are a high-level product leader, like who can think about product strategy, who can come in and change the process in which product is done in that company, but you're not stopping just at the high level. You go down to the details beyond the vision and setting the strategic goals. You are also able to create an actionable roadmap. And then it doesn't stop there. You are able to do that management work of communicating with the stakeholders, internal and external, and getting their buy-in. Because it's not enough to be able to create all the great documents and plans and strategies. If you can't get anyone to accept it, then that's pointless. And so you were able to communicate all of that in a single line item. Are there questions on this before we move on? All righty, moving on. Oh, did I just hear the question pop? Or no? I did not. Okay.
No, there's no question.
Cool. So on to the last product one. Product again, internship at HNG. Again, so this first one launched multilingual app from scratch with over 50 downloads on Google Store. Yes, I like it. If you have right in there, you launch the app and the outcome 50 downloads. Achieve this through collaborating with and managing designers and developers from inception to implementation. Notice that I added the second. Again, I merged because see, this second one was manage and collaborated with designers and developers to develop the product from inception to implementation. That's a lot of how without a so what. But the so what for this how lives in the first line item, launching the app that got 50 downloads. So instead of leaving this to hang as a standalone, add it to the first one to add color and detail of the how did I get that first thing done. Well, what was the first achievement? Got 50 downloads from this app I launched. How did I achieve that? By managing and collaborating with the designers and the devs from inception to implementation. Then the last one, boost daily active user metrics by 30% using Mixpanel while increasing subscribers weekly. And again, I said that's great. Why is that great? Because look, starts off, tells us the achievement. Boosted daily active user metric by 30%. Tells us how using Mixpanel. Now I know you can use Mixpanel. And you even gave me a bit of extra Jara there by telling me you increase subscribers weekly. So it was a nice achievement sandwich, so to speak, or a reverse achievement sandwich. An achievement, a how, and then more, and another achievement. So no notes. That was a perfect line item. So that's the CV. Those are my corrections or suggestions. Happy to take any questions or observations before we move on. I keep hearing the question thing, but I look and I don't see a hand up. I think I'm being pranked.
Elijah has his hand raised.
Oh, okay, Elijah, please go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing, sir. I really enjoyed your session. Learned upon quite a few. So my question is around. I know definitely we have to be intentional about our line items on our resume, but from a recruiter perspective, how do you what do you think would be like the concern of how would I put it now, would a recruiter have the time to actually go through each of the line items, or what are your thoughts around that? And then secondly, based on the results, right, how can that be proved at times? At times you can't measure the impact or the results of your activity or your efforts. Yeah, so what thoughts do you have along that line, sir?
So please repeat that second one. Please repeat it.
Okay, like how do you back up? How do you prove your results? I know recruiters would be interested in actually finding out about this. So how do you prove? And then in cases where you are not able to measure your impact or your results, what's the approach?
I'm sorry. I think it's coming from, it's my end. I think something's wrong with my, please just hold on 1 second. Sorry. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, it's much better. Yeah, I think something went wrong with my my earpiece. So please repeat. Now you're much clearer. Thank you.
Okay. Is it the first one or the second one?
The first one I heard clear. That's where it started breaking up. The first one, you were asking me about, will a recruiter really have the time to go through the line items?
Yeah, exactly. So the second one is about how do you, one, measure the results or your impact, and two, how do you prove them? Because right, the recruiters will be interested in not just the results, but being able to actually prove that yes, you actually achieved these results.
Okay, cool. So for the first one, like, it's really simple. I am speaking as a recruiter who I review. I actively hire for. At any given point, I'm hiring for at least one job. At any point, not just within my company, but for our portfolio companies. A recruiter may or may not look at all your line items, but guess what? A recruiter will almost certainly do. They will look at one or two of your line items. And the thing is, you have no control over which one or two line items the recruiter will look at. So what you try to do is make sure you're putting your best foot forward on every line item in your resume. Because what you don't want is a situation where a recruiter looks at maybe the first one or the first few, or even if they're trying to be a bit, creative and methodical, they go a few down and they see the same old they would see from everyone else and nothing stands out. And most recruiters will go past. I personally try my best to read everything, but I know I am in a minority. So when you don't format it in a way that is best engineered for each line item to grab the attention of a recruiter. What you've done is you've reduced your chances that when the recruiter looks at one line item in your CV at random, they will be impressed by what they see and then start to read more. Because here's what happens when a recruiter randomly looks at a line item. Either they are impressed by what they see or they are unimpressed by what they see. If they're impressed by what they see, they start to read more. If they are still impressed by what they see, they start to read the whole resume. And if they are really impressed by what they see, then they put it in the yes column. But if they read a line at random or two at random and they are unimpressed by what they see, they say more of the same and they pass, they say it's a no, and they go to the next resume. So ask yourself, putting yourself in the shoes of your customer here, who is a recruiter, what is the outcome you want? What do you want to get out of it from the recruiter? So if you approach it from their perspective of, well, the recruiter is not able to read everything I wrote here, you're setting yourself up for failure because you don't have control over what parts they do or they don't read. And then even if by luck they read one of the good parts of your resume, guess what I just said? They're going to keep reading, right? If they're impressed enough, they're going to keep reading. And if they read and then the rest of it is just same boring bland, guess what? They're going to lose interest again. And you're back in the know. So write it with the expectation and the assumption that a recruiter might read all of it or just 2% of it. But you don't know which 2% they will read. So the whole thing had better be good, right? It's just that simple. So that's one. Then number two of how do you know what impact and results and achievements the work you did achieve? Well, if you don't know, that's a bigger problem, right? Then like, why are you at work? Right? Like every piece of work you're doing as a product manager in the job you're doing today should be moving the needle on something real for the business. It should be helping the business acquire more customers, or it should be helping the business get more revenue, make more sales, or get more orders. It should be getting more active users, or it should be reducing some inefficiency somewhere, improving the ops, reducing turnaround time. There has to be something measurable that your product work is changing. And then if there isn't, it means either you are doing product wrong or your company is doing product wrong. So it should be actually relatively easy for you to turn every job description in your CV into a set of line items that highlight an accomplishment. I don't know any other way to say it. And you should be able to do it without twisting the truth. Otherwise, you're not doing product. And that might sound harsh, but that's, I think, the challenge I have to give to everybody doing product in this current Nigerian climate, because that's what makes the great product managers stand out from everyone else. Is an understanding that every decision I'm making should be improving something in the business.
All right, thank you, Andy. So we also have some questions in the comment section rather. Onyidamola, okay, as far as Andy is raised, Alpha, please hold on. So Onyidamola asks that can volunteer experience feature on a CV without indicating that it's a volunteer role?
The ethics of it is you must indicate that it's a volunteer role, but yes, you can put it there.
All right. Okay, Chinelo is asking if you can give an example of
An example of what?
what you just explained. Chinelo, can you unmute your mic? I don't want to assume anything. Can you unmute? Okay. All right. It says something around measuring metrics. So, do you mind giving an example of measuring metrics?
I'm still not following.
Okay, I'm just going to unmute. So
All right.
following your second explanation with like you should know how to basically track your metrics to see how like much you improved or like basically, right? So I'm saying like do you mind giving like a practical example to the second answer to I think his name I can't remember his name's question.
Oh, sure. Okay, great. Yeah. I think what we did already on the resume today, it was full of those practical examples. So for example, but put it this way, you're a product manager at okay, I'm sorry, Chinelo, if you don't mind my asking, are you currently working as a product manager?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you don't have to tell us the name of the company, but what does the company do or what sector?
Digital e-commerce, you probably know it.
Okay, digital e-commerce. So, and you are a product manager are you on the customer facing side, or is there no distinction in your company and you're working on all parts of the product?
No distinction, all parts.
All parts of the product. Okay. So what's the company's main strategic goal currently? Of business strategy. What are they trying to achieve?
Like to get more users, I guess.
Yes, get more users. And let's say you guys are, I'm assuming it's e-commerce, is it B2C or B2B?
B2B, B2C.
Okay, it's both. Awesome. Okay. So maybe, so for example, I don't know the details, but maybe for example, your on the business side, there may be a feeling that over the next 6 months, we need to prioritize growing more on the B2C side over the B2B, for example, right? That decision could have been made somewhere. And that decision trickles down into the product team and the technology team in general to say, you guys are meant to help us with this goal of driving B2C. Now, what needs to happen is now you as a product team now are now looking and saying, what do we build next? Or what do we tweak into what we've built that moves that needle in some way, right? That decision is being made somewhere. It's either being made actively or it's being made passively. But at the end of the day, ultimately, you end up as a product manager deciding on features or shipping features along with your cross-functional team, right? When you ship your features, how is success measured? How do you measure success, and how does your manager measure success for the features you ship, if you don't mind my asking?
So let's just give an example. We ship a new feature. The intention for this was to obviously like attract new users, right? So I guess that is basically how success is measured, like how many new users from this feature was brought in specifically based on this feature. And then like I guess like that's how you measure success, but I guess you also have to see like, oh, were they users at all? Did this even like confuse people more to now like churn, things like that?
Yes. So I think there is a seed of your answer. For a practical example, if you were now in your resume writing about the current job, you would need to be talking about, for this feature you're currently responsible for and shipping, what has that feature contributed in terms of new users coming to use the platform, retention of users who are using the platform, or active usage, increases in active usage based on what that feature is providing. And you'll be able to say, yes, I raised active usage by 5% by leading the team that shipped X feature. And that, you see, what you have to do when you're writing your resume is every single task you're doing or job you're doing, there is that real world target that you're trying to meet. There is that real world needle you're trying to shift. In your case, it's usage and orders, like of customers using the platform to place orders actively. That is your thing. And if that's really your thing, everything you're doing at the job is to try and shift that number, that set of numbers. And so you day to day, even if your manager isn't being very strict about measuring that, because some places are or are not, but you, and I'm not speaking about you directly, Chinelo, but all of us as product managers, the way you become a great product manager is to be mindful of that number, mindful of those metrics that say, okay, how many of these more B2C users have I gotten for this my e-commerce company through this product I have shipped, or this feature I have shipped? How many more? How many more month on month? What percentage increase month on month? And you hold yourself to that only by measuring it. And it's either your bosses are measuring it for you, if it's a good company, and if it's not a good company, then you are forced to measure it for yourself. But you're measuring it for yourself, I mean, nobody's going to fire you if you don't measure it, but that's what gives you what you put down in your resume, one. And two, that's what actually makes you a good product manager or a better product manager, so that when you do get that better job where, these things matter, you are now already used to working that way. If that makes sense.
That makes total sense. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Andy. So, Latima, please, you can go next with your question.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Very
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we
Thank
can.
you, Andy. So, here is my thought process slash assumptions for the question I want to ask. You were looking at time. There might not be enough time, or having a couple of product-related experiences is enough, or having three experiences is okay in order to watch your page in order not to exceed the 1 to 2 page CV recommendation. So here's the question. I observed that you didn't talk on the last experience on this CV you reviewed. Why is that?
You don't talk about what? Sorry.
You didn't talk on the last experience in the CV.
Okay, no, the
There was a
last
short
experience was a customer service experience. I could talk about it, but I made no changes there.
Okay, so it's okay to have 3 to 4 experiences on a CV, even when you
Yes.
have product specific experiences, and that one is not exactly
Yeah,
product.
it's good to have. And I think having the customer service experience there was good because, as a product person, I like hiring product people who have customer service experience because you talk to a lot of angry people and that helps you get better at understanding people. So,
Okay, thank you.
I'm seeing some more hands.
So
Um, oh, let's yield to the owner of the CV first.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Okay, so my question is, I know I have like some tools mentioned underneath or probably few skills that I have. Is it of importance or do they affect you getting a job in terms of if it's not the tools the particular company is using or
Oh,
if
I'm so sorry. This one is on me. My son just came and totally distracted me. I was trying to. Sorry. So please start over. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I was mentioning, so my question is two, right? The first one is on this CV. So I was mentioning that I have some tools and skills. Do they really matter? Or I can easily remove it under the knowledge
Yeah,
area?
no. The
Do
tools
they?
and skills were good. The tools and skills were good. The only reason why they are not here is I removed as much information that wasn't relevant to the exercise as possible. I didn't need everybody all up in your business. That was the only reason why I removed it.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, so my second question is I actually have a case study I'm working on more like after on a stage two recruitment process.
Oh, okay, sure.
So and I wanted to know what was actually required. I've actually started work and I know I have a very short timeline. So basically it was just more of want to know how much you can think in terms of problem solving. Just a scenario being painted is you have a hair salon and you don't have a you have an imbalanced customer traffic, which is normal in terms of there are some days you have a lot of customers and there are some days you have quite very low customers. So they want you to find a solution that will optimize and balance your customer flow all around so that you can actually maximize your salon capacity basically. So some of the things I came up with PRDs, I drafted some of the user research questions as well as interviews I'll be doing, user stories and what else? Okay, I also did a bit of wireframes because what I was thinking towards was okay, probably having an online booking platform to help be able to like streamline how people book for your service and be able to come at the available time so you can easily spread them towards even when you don't actually have any customers, so you don't have to reduce your wait time on your customers and all of that, as well as other solution. But that particular solution is what is more of the technical aspect in which I can draft out any other thing. So I don't know what are the things expected for a case study. What do you guys look out for, right? And is it always better to be in a PDF format or PowerPoint and all of that so that I can actually channel my energy towards what is necessary? Apologies, I know it's not meant to be in this scope. I just needed to. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not meant to be on this call, and so I won't touch it on this call. But I will. We are going to have a session for case studies, but I just want us to be as much as possible, especially because, like, I know everybody here has something they're working on. Everybody here has something they're trying to achieve. And if I say, okay, you have this one now, I'm going to prioritize it and discuss it and change the topic of today to discuss it, then either I do that for everyone or I can't do that for you. And I can't do that for everyone. So unfortunately, we'll just have to put case study in the backlog. It's already there. We're going to have a case study case. But I think you and I can have this discussion if you can message me on the Slack and we can talk.
Thank you. I will.
Okay. Chinelo?
Okay.
Okay, so going back to the to the question earlier of putting like other, will I say, job roles on your resume, right? And then you said that like you prefer personally, I don't know if this is general, but you personally prefer people that have customer support experience like on their resume, right? But then I was speaking to someone, will I say, like kind of like a senior PM as well, and then he also said that like it's better to fine tune your customer support experience to like match like product. So for example now instead of like customer support you can, or customer success, you can just literally put product success. What do you think about that?
So instead of customer support, you say product success.
Yeah.
Here's my simple rule of thumb. The moment you change your job title, you've lied, and like you're already putting yourself into trouble. That's my view. My view is it should never be about, if you have to change your title and say you were something that you weren't, like you're going down the wrong direction. Now, I know a lot of people will tell you differently, and that's fine, and that's up to them, right? But instead of doing that, all you really need to do is don't change the title, but be clear in the line items. In your line items, in that your customer service job or customer support job, you will be able to show that you harnessed skills that are relevant and transferable to the job of the job of the product manager. Okay, so let me give you an example. Let me be practical as possible. So we're going back to the CV. Thumbs up when you see it. Excellent. Thank you, Chinelo. Now, so you see, customer service officer, right? Oops, sorry. Customer service officer. Line item 1, improved customers' banking experience with the bank by ensuring prompt resolution of customer inquiries and challenges, resulting in improved satisfaction. Now, if I were to rewrite this, I would say, let me just rewrite it. Oh shit, we're running out of time. Let me be very fast here. Okay, so instead, it's all right. Let me just talk to it. So you could say something like improved, like, I don't know. Now, if don't lie, if you had like an NPS score or receive, for example, you could say improved customer satisfaction, such and such NPS score, whatever. But instead, you can just, if you don't have that, you can say improved customer satisfaction and banking experience with banking experience, right? By promptly responding to say, you could put, like, I would like to put something like, say, 20 customer inquiries a day, increase and challenges a day, and you can put phone, SMS, etc. displayed required great communication with customers, required constant, excellent communication with customers. What did you just tell the hiring manager? That you know how to talk to customers, and you do it a lot of it, and you do it when customers are very angry. That's the skill for a product manager, even though it wasn't a product job. Engage in continuous improvement by actively soliciting and incorporating customer feedback to enhance both personal and business performance. In, improved customer rating of product, for example, because you have to show the how you know this. And how do you do this? By implementing or suggesting effective changes, or suggesting improvements to the product based on based on customer feedback, both inbound and actively solicited. What did you just tell them? You just told them that you are able to go talk to customers, understand the customer pain points, get suggestions about that, and then use those customer feedback to create your own suggestions, pass them on to the team, have those implemented, and that led to an actual improvement in what was on ground, which again is exactly what a product manager would be doing. Now you've put these two line items here, and you're still saying you were a customer service officer. And what I'm seeing is that you were a product manager in disguise, and you didn't need to change what your title was.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much again, Andy, for tonight. Please let's start sending our love, our claps. Let's celebrate Andy. I'm sorry, additional will not be able to take any other questions again tonight. Also, Elijah, sorry, will not be able to take your question. Please, Andy, do we have your permission to take questions and probably send to you on Slack?
Yeah, that's fine. That's
all right.
perfectly.
Thank you so much. So please, you can reach out to me on. Well, there's no. You can drop a question on the general on the Q&A channel on Slack. So that said, thank you so much everyone for joining tonight. So we'll be seeing again in 2 weeks time. Just to iterate, you can follow us on all of our social media channels, on Twitter at People in Product, on YouTube, on Instagram, on LinkedIn as well. And we also have amazing events or programs lined up for you in coming days. We have a webinar that will be coming up on Thursday, I think 7 p.m., right, Latifa? Then on Saturday as well, we have a weekly check-in call, popularly known as the Product Managers group mentorship, group therapy session. So yeah, that also happened from 8 to 10. So please let's have that to our calendar and look out for other amazing programs on our social media pages. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so very much, Andy. Till we see you again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thanks, people. Have a great evening. Keep on producting.